rather than do that, I think most of you probably know who I am. I'd like to just answer whatever questions you might have at the time that we have. Anyway. It's going to be a short. Thank you.
The homeless situation. I know that it needs to be triaged, and you can't just give people, you have to find the root of the cause. But I love going to Antique Row, and I can't even walk across the street and get in there anymore without walking over bodies. And I don't know what else we can do.
It's a good question. I want to start by saying that all of us people that are mayors or city councilmen have other jobs, and my career has been in mental health. I'm a doctor of psychology, and I worked mostly in room service and psychiatric evaluations. So because of that, I've worked pretty intimately with the homeless population. And I can tell you one of the major problems is that we as a state have really decided that homelessness is about housing. And I'm here to tell you, if you ask any police officer, any firefighter, any nurse, any EMT, they will tell you the same thing, that homelessness is about drug and alcohol addiction. Now, not 100% of the time, but I challenge you this. Ask any one of those people I just talked about, how many people on the streets have drug and alcohol addiction. They'll probably tell you somewhere around 95. That seems to, because every time I run into a police officer or a firefighter, I ask them the same question. Everybody says the same thing. That was my experience working in the emergency room. In fact, I did drug and alcohol tests on everybody that came in. So, the first thing we have to do is admit that we've been spending $25 billion on the wrong things. And the housing first model doesn't work. We need to address the homeless issue at the root of the problem, which is psychiatric problems, drug and alcohol problems. Next, we have to change the laws and give the cities back the ability to get people off the street, even if it's against their will, if it's in their own best interest. And here's something nobody ever talks about anymore: the best interest of the people who live in the community. You know, all of you have rights as well, and for some reason we've decided that your rights don't matter anymore. The only rights that matter are the rights of the people that are deciding to set up camp on the streets, which I disagree with completely. I think we should have compassion to help them, but their rights don't supersede your rights. And then the last thing is, once we do those two things, we're going to have to spend a lot of money on rebuilding state hospitals and taking care of the people, because California invited all these people in. You know, there's 185,000 homeless people in California. The next closest state would be Texas and New York, with 25,000 apiece. That tells you that California has designed its laws and designed its programs and welfare in a way that makes people want to come be homeless here. So California has to change the way that they do business. And frankly, you're only going to change that in the ballot box by bringing guys like Andrew Hayes in, who will make reasonable decisions and not make California a homeless haven.
Do you know what the percentage is that are families where maybe it's been loss of a job that's led to the homelessness?
Yeah, so to me that's a red herring. The question is, how many people are homeless because they've lost their job down the left? That's what the left, that's the narrative that they'll tell you. If you listen to them, probably 80-90% of those people. I'm here to tell you it's almost all men and women. People that, at least 10% of people on the streets are just recently out of prison because they have nowhere else to go. They're buying drugs, they're selling drugs, they're involved in organized crime, and it's not families. In fact, right now at East Cape Transitional Living Center, we have room for probably another 5 families to come in, because we take families there. Mm-hmm. But the beds aren't filled because it's really not the biggest problem. The biggest problem is drug addicts. I should get on to the topic. Thank you for asking. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you for being here, Mr. Wells. Even with the complex problem, we have been inundated with migrants, and it's becoming a complex problem here in California, being a sanctuary state. What are you going to do back in D.C. to help us alleviate this problem, not only here in California, but across the entire board? Thank you.
Well, I agree with you. The migrant problem is a huge problem. I'm not sure it's a complex problem. I think it's pretty simple. Countries all over the world for time immemorial have had borders, and they decided who comes in and comes out. And they rightfully say, we want to let people in that can enhance our society, and we want to keep people out that tear down our society. And so we have to make a decision. We have to change the narrative and say America is a valuable place. It's not even valuable for the people who live here, it's valuable for the whole world. And if we tear America down to the lowest common denominator by bringing the people in from 182 different countries, we're going to not only destroy America for us, but we're going to destroy America for the entire world. And that's a bad thing. So we have a right to set standards. That means letting no more people in unless they go through rigid, strict process of applying for asylum, waiting for the court date, coming to court, talking to a judge, and having that judge determine that it's in America's best interest to bring them in. Other than that, nobody gets in as far as I'm concerned. And I would advocate for that in Washington.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Yes, I have a question about human trafficking. I have a 15-year-old daughter who is in the Congressional school district, and I have other friends who I've known their daughters have gone through episodes where they were trafficked. I want to know what you're going to do in the El Cajon area. My daughter loves going to Parkway Plaza, however, I do not want to go there anymore. I know it is a haven for trafficking. I want to know what we're going to do to clean up East County so I can feel safe about letting my daughter go and have fun with her friends and not feeling like she's going to be kidnapped from a mall or myself be followed.
Yeah. So all these things we're talking about, we're talking about homelessness, we're talking about war, we're talking about human trafficking. These aren't three separate silos. These are three things that are going in and out of each other. The problem with the border is touching on the human trafficking issue. The problem with homelessness is touching on the human trafficking issue. We talked about what happened with Magnolia, allowed that. Magnolia Street allowed that homeless encampment, which ended up turning into a human trafficking kind of problem. We've had hotels that were filled with homeless, vouchers from homeless people that turned into places of human trafficking and assault on underage girls. All these things touch each other. We have to just clean up the entire mess and go back to more traditional, more common sense values. And I know that sounds simplistic, but seriously, if you focus on cleaning up homelessness, cleaning up the border, supporting the police, not buying this defund the police kind of idea, and protect people who live where we live, those things naturally going to clean up a lot. So I would be supportive of any of those and all of those things to help you get